This video will show you how to add a wire to any of your appendages if you want them to have a little bit more structure. So for example, if you have a long skinny ear, possibly like for a bunny ear and you want it to stick straight up, you might want to add a little bit of wire to give it a little extra help to stay up instead of flopping down after you've stuffed it. So first up, wire cutters. So here's a pair of wire cutters. If I close it, you can see that right here, there's a little rectangle. If I flip it, it's an oval. So when I open that up, you can kind of see there's a blade right there. So in that area is the blade. In this area, there's no blade, which is why it's okay for me to run my finger over it. It's teeth, it's a little rough, kind of like a nail file. So if I was to squeeze my finger in here a little bit, this part isn't gonna hurt me. However, if I accidentally got my finger down in this base, that would definitely hurt. The whole point of this is that it cuts wire. Wire is pretty tough, so be careful with that. So again, say this was my piece that I was gonna do. Here's my wire. I'm gonna unwrap it a little bit. First, I need to figure out how much wire I need. So you wanna have about 1/2 inch extra on the top, and then about 1 inch to 1.5 inches extra on the bottom. So to cut this, I'm going to take my wire cutters, and again, I have to use the base because that's where it's the sharpest. So I would just put my pliers in there. So bring it up to show you. And I would just squeeze pretty hard. It doesn't usually break off right away. If it's a little bit difficult, just go ahead and give it a little bit of it like a twist and it'll pop right off. So here's my wire and I can get rid of the extra spool. So if I was to take this and just stick it in here, there's a good chance that I might accidentally poke a hole through this. My fabric's has a tight weave. That means it doesn't poke holes too easily, but it still might pop through. There we go. It still could pop through just by accident, if I was pressing too hard. So instead, you don't want to have this rough end. So what we're gonna do is take the tip of our pliers and the tip of our wire, and we're just going to push. So I just push it against my thumb and I just kind of rotate my right wrist. And now we have this candy cane shape. If you want to, you can pinch it and close it a little bit more. You don't have to, as long as at least the top edge is rounded. So now when I stick this in, it's not gonna pop through if I accidentally push too hard. So you want to make sure you do the same thing on the other end. So again, I'm just going to hold this, oops, rotate my hand, and now it's ready to go. At this point, if you already have stuffing, if you've already stuffed your pieces, you might be able to get the wire in. You can try to kind of stick it in there around the wire. Sometimes it doesn't work, so you'll just have to give it a try. If it doesn't go through, then you'll have to take all of the stuffing out, then put in the wire, and then you'll have to put in the stuffing kind of around the edge of the wire, which is definitely a little bit awkward, especially since you would only use wire for something long and skinny. So again, use the end of a pencil or the dowels to kind of push that stuffing in. And then when you're sewing, you would try to make sure that it's in about the middle. It doesn't have to be exact, but about the middle. And then you would, when you're doing your stitches, so let's imagine that these are my little stitches. Of course, I would be doing them along here. I would just do a tiny stitch on one side and then loop the thread over, do a tiny stitch on the other side of the wire, and I would just continue on.